Posted by Dorkita. I'm so depressed. I've been working on intuitive eating with a dietitian since October. I'm heavier than I've ever been. I'm in pain all the time. My blood sugar is still out of control, even though I take 3 different meds for it. My doctor is constantly on my case about diet and exercise. This just isn't working for me at all. Any chance you can find a new doctor? I'm sorry you're having a hard time figuring out what's best for your body. And someone else replied, unfortunately, neither does dieting. Work, she means. Hugs. Ananalan replied, but what are they eating? Does their intuition still send them down a cake-filled rabbit hole? Or do they maybe crave a piece of broccoli? When it comes to food, don't listen to intuition. It will just tell you to eat sugar and fat because it's tasty and high calorie. I now intuitively go for healthy food because that's what my body craves. The slightest bit of discipline for just a few weeks will change your cravings and desires. Something I won't regret added. The idea is that if you're allowing yourself to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, in whatever quantity you want, you will quickly settle into guilt-free normal eating, where the forbidden cake no longer dominates your thoughts. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and the research that the intuitive eating founders cite to support this idea is contradicted by other research and my own lived experience. From CBR Dragon. What diet culture says about a giant KFC meal? If you eat fast food, you will crave it all day, every day. But in real life, they claim, if you eat fast food, you will not crave it all day, every day. Tip, enjoy that fried chicken and move on. Many people live in a constant fight against food. Diet culture is always bombing us with instructions that sometimes are just impossible to follow. We keep hearing phrases like, stay away from fast food, don't eat fat or carbs, eat healthy, eat clean, processed food is poison, eat as many vegetables as you can. These common expressions are a little extreme and psychologically suffocate us. Follow the Foxes 42 replied, yeah, no. The more junk I eat, the more I want. If I stop eating junk, I want it at first, and then I get hungry for the food I actually have at home. From Hey, It's a Mess. If skinny people stopped spending money at stores that didn't have plus-size sections, it would force their hand and make more clothing retailers, also known as not just fast fashion, have plus-size sections. Just saying. Helmorock replied, this would increase demand for skinny sizes at plus-size stores, encouraging the stores to stock more smaller sizes. Electra Under the Sea added, right? It would only increase the skinny size share of those brands and make them even less likely to have plus sizes. From Avocado Lump. Praising someone for losing weight is harmful. It's a form of weight stigma, which is dangerous to mental and physical health. Complimenting weight loss says that their body was bad before and is better now, and that will stick with them when they almost inevitably regain the weight. Mr. Foofy replied, hey, here's a fun game. Which of these scenarios made me spend a night binge eating on the verge of tears? 1. A family reunion in which everyone kept joking about how little there was left of me, asking for my secret as though I could say anything other than hard work, getting called a twig and being accused of having an eating disorder. Or 2. Running into my friend's mom on the bus. She asks if I've lost weight, congratulates me, saying that it can't have been easy, and then we talk about other things until her stop. Pushin's Pizza posted, you can't change the world on an empty stomach. Reminder that you can't fight systemic racism, take down the patriarchy, or be a bad peach. Blaze Surfer Pete replied, Gandhi would like a word with you. Elmir 2000 posted, your willpower is not the problem. Diet culture owns that one. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the term willpower is defined as the ability to control one's actions, emotions, or urges. Did she seriously start her blog entry by doing what a 6th grader does when they're writing a speech and quote the dictionary? I thought people just did that because they had no idea what they were going to write. I had a long conversation today with someone who's been held hostage by diet culture for years. The first thing she said to me was, I would be fine if I just had more willpower. Diet culture makes money off of fear. Our fear that our bodies are not good enough. our fear that our bodies are not healthy enough. The problem with diet culture is that it is based on diet rules that have no regard for our hunger or satiety, rules that make us feel badly if we break one, imprisoned by their boundaries and barriers. This is why diets don't work. Eventually, our desire for food overtakes the food laws that are set forth. It's not about willpower that causes a dieter to fail. It is human biology. It is about wanting to fuel our bodies when we are hungry. It is about listening to our body's cravings, whether it be for chocolate or carbs. It is because by nature, we don't want to be confined by an external power driving us and controlling our actions. It is why the first thing a dieter does when off the diet is to eat all the things that were denied while on the diet. So please don't blame yourself. Blame diet culture and its insidious rules. Spiny86 replied, "They're right that we are sold the idea that if we just have strong willpower, we will lose weight. And that is a problem for a lot of people. Believing that you could lose weight if you just had better willpower is FatLogic. Believing that you lost weight because of your willpower is FatLogic. You use discipline and planning, typically to lose weight. It's not your ability to say no to something you want a million times. It's the fact that you have a plan and you're disciplined enough to stick to it. A replacement behavior, not empty willpower." I'd also like to add, the kind of planning you should do is oftentimes quite simple. Don't have cookies in your house. Stop eating out. Buy food that you can quickly make at home if that's necessary. And I'm sure that all of you watching have your own ideas of good things you can do to prevent yourself from having to rely on willpower to lose weight. From Ruza Zine. Fat, still fat. It wasn't really what I had planned to post today, but since I saw Blank's post this morning, I haven't been able to think about anything else. When you are not a straight-sized person, bending to create rolls on flat tummy, when you are fat with a big belly and thighs, when you are super fat or infinifat, you cannot hide your rolls in your body in a tight pair of panties or leggings. You just can't. This is a luxury only slim people can afford. We can't hide our fatness. We can't disguise it. I don't want to see straight-sized people, thin people, slender people capitalizing on body positivity and centering themselves in a movement that isn't about them. I don't want that when someone says body positive. The first person that comes to mind is a thin celebrity. And honestly, it doesn't matter if someone used to be fat, because if now they fit beauty standards, they do not have to go through the daily struggles fat people have to go through. I want to be part of an intersectional movement that centers super fat, infinifat, fat women of color, fat disabled people, minorities. I want a movement that gives us a place the world doesn't give us. Content Beautiful replied, "First of all, to the person who wrote this rant, straight-sized, thin, slender people may have insecurities about their bodies, and their feelings are just as valid as yours. Second, thin people also can have scars, pimples, burns, missing limbs, etc. It's not only about weight. Third, thin people also go through daily struggles, and they also get bullied. Fourth, excluding a certain group of people is anything but intersectional. Fifth, you're hateful and bitter. Shame on you." Posted by Venus and Foe. His, a pile of pancakes. Hers, the same pile of pancakes. Because you can eat the same as your partner. Pop Art Commission replied, "My husband and I went to a famous restaurant in Berlin on our honeymoon, and I ordered a schnitzel. Our waiter politely informed me that they recommend a lady's portion of the schnitzel as it was rather large. In a moment of pure rage at the idea of a lady's portion, I insisted on the full-sized meal. When the 700-gram schnitzel arrived, and I saw how big it was, I nearly cried. That's over a pound to my fellow Americans. It was my man versus food moment, and I failed miserably. But I wasn't going to lose face, so I made my husband finish it. He could barely move when we left, and the look on the waiter's face when he looked at my empty plate was beautiful. But also, I'm an idiot and should have gotten the ladies' portion." The Hapster replied, "Goodness, as weirdly sexist as ladies' portion sounds, it's almost completely justified. The US might want to adopt some of these ideas if we want to get obesity rate under 50% of the population." From Dorkita. "The last 5 years of my dieting days, I gained about 10 pounds a year while dieting and trying to lose weight. I was trying a few different diets, calorie counting, portion control containers, keto, intermittent fasting, etc., and yet I was gaining weight. I have some small wins, of course, and I'd take one super bloated picture, and then after sticking to my diet for 1 to 2 weeks, I'd take a stomach sucked in after picture, and there was my transformation. Follow that up with a huge binge, and that was my life. The truth is that I never thought there was anything wrong with the diets I was failing miserably at, because there was always a ton of amazing success stories for every diet, so there was obviously something wrong with me. I have learned that this is totally not true. Our bodies are designed to fight back against weight loss and dieting. So if you can't seem to stick to your diet, then congratulations, you are normal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you if you're struggling with a diet. Please stop beating yourself up and maybe consider life without dieting. Rotasha replied, "This person has some good points, but came to the wrong conclusion. Losing weight is hard, and I agree that there's nothing wrong with you if you struggle to do it. That is normal, and you shouldn't beat yourself up if you fail. But instead of giving up, figure out what went wrong. Did you choose an unsustainable diet? Do you have mental health issues you need to work on? Are there certain foods you need to learn to avoid? Do you have a good support system? Did you give up too soon because you didn't see results fast enough? Be honest with yourself about what you need to change in your life to be successful, and then try again." Entitled Khaleesi brings us, "People who enjoy life rarely have a flat stomach." The Expert 077. Clearly it's the people who are so fat that they can't walk for more than 10 minutes who enjoy life. Those people who tend to be more athletic and have flat stomachs like mountain climbers, thrill seekers, Olympians, pro athletes, they're just sad all the time. From Kishana 12. So this is kind of time sensitive since I want to be able to respond properly to this person. Next time I have to see her. Yesterday, someone I just met at the place I'm stuck on COVID-19 lockdown told me she restricts her very young kids' food choices because she doesn't want them to be fat. I was so caught off guard I couldn't say anything, since I'm fat, and she looked me in the face and said how she's abusing her child so they don't turn out like me, as if that was totally reasonable. All I could manage to say before she changed the subject was that right now it's important to do whatever makes us feel better, by which I meant the kid eating what they want, but I don't know if that got across. Juver replied, "Well, as a parent, I also monitor how much time my kids spend reading, being outside, being on their devices, what they do on said devices, how much time they spend with their friends, how long they brush their teeth, etc. So I'm not sure how this is any different. I obviously don't obsess about it, but I need to have a rough idea since kids are kind of like politicians, in power, but not good decision makers." Sweat replied, "Exactly. Monitoring is kind of the whole job of being a parent. I shudder to think what these feral children must be like, who can't even have a parent reasonably say, probably should give this kid some protein and fewer brownies." I'm not saying helicopter parent, but having some loose idea of what's going on is just being responsible. What kid wouldn't choose to live a horrible lifestyle left to their own devices? Stay up late, iPad all the time, only eat chocolate, etc. Hey, only eat chocolate, that's the name of an episode from a month back. The whole point of being a parent is to help them make choices that are good for them in all aspects of life. Otherwise, how can they learn? Eat trash, hail Santa added more. Exactly, I'm all for moderation and let my kiddo have a few treats because making it taboo makes it even more enticing. But most of the time when my kiddo asks for some sort of junk food for a meal, I counter with, "No, you need some real food." Tater tots are not a good breakfast. It's not even because I'm worried about her weight. She's on the lower side of the curve weight-wise. It's just not healthy. From Lavender Watercolor. If you wrap your burger in lettuce, assuming no allergies or medical conditions, I'd really urge you to consider if it's truly intuitive or if it's diet culture making these rules for you. It's helpful to have a critical eye on the supposed non-diet accounts you're following. Jenny X replied, "Imagine being this obsessed about what other people choose to eat." I Love Cats 12 also replied, "I wrap my burger in lettuce because I hate the taste of bread. Guess I must be starving myself." Point and Shooty added, "A lettuce burger is freaking delicious. It feels cool and refreshing, with a ton of mustard and pickles and lettuce, instead of some heavy breaded thing. I'm with you." Crotha added even more, "That's why I love lettuce tacos and lettuce wraps. Lettuce is such a versatile thing. And don't forget, all the leftover leaves that are too small can still make a great salad. Just a little aside, I've tried doing this, but my lettuce always ends up breaking and things go all over the place, and it's hard to find good leaves that are just the right size. I usually end up either eating a deconstructed taco or a burger, or finding some kind of low-carb substitute. From Zontino 9000. This entry belongs more on a DietLogic rather than a FatLogic video. Sadly, there is no DietLogic subreddit. Tracking your calories doesn't do anything in the long run. All reducing calorie intake does is make your body compensate by decreasing your metabolism. Some top-tier FatLogic you got there, bud. Your metabolism decreases during weight loss because you're losing weight, and a 200-pound body requires less energy to exist than a 300-pound body. And even so, counting calories doesn't become pointless. If anything, it becomes more important. If your metabolism drops from 3,000 calories to 2,500 calories, that doesn't mean weight loss is suddenly impossible. It just means you need to eat less than 2,500 calories to lose weight. Starvation mode is defined as a concept where your metabolic rate declines during the process of caloric restriction, or weight loss to such a degree that further weight loss becomes impossible or weight gain occurs. Starvation mode, according to the above definition, is for all intents and purposes a myth. The notion that weight loss can be outright halted secondary to caloric restriction is currently unsupported, although a reduction of metabolic rate may occur. The process of losing weight itself can reduce caloric expenditure as all tissue requires some energy to exist. And most of the reduction in energy expenditure from weight loss can be accounted for from this. Anyone that uses the word bud, I know to just stop reading right at that moment because they're obviously super smart and know way more than me, or scientists. That's too bad, bud. If you summoned the courage to make it past those 3 letters, you might have become less ignorant. Maybe put on your big boy pants and try again. Hey bud, all reducing calories does is 1, make it difficult for your body to switch to using fat for fuel, and 2, lowers your metabolism. This is why caloric restriction diets never work long term, only short term for competitions or whatever. Every other day fasting is by far the most effective way, followed closely by intermittent fasting and keto, bud. OCR Amazon replied, stop buying into that fad calories propaganda. Keto and restrictive fasting are obviously the solutions. This guy. From Beth Lizard Breath. Some pictures of a dog that lost weight. She was beautiful before, but great for her. Are you deranged? No, I just don't want to fat shame. I said losing the weight was good, but she was beautiful in both pictures, and I stand by that. I don't know which person was right in this argument, they kind of both were. But, and let's be honest, I just included this as a nice segue into Dechonkers.